the board members of INQAAHE are already presented, but I want to highlight that whatever unites all of us is that we all come from INQAAHE board and we all contribute internationally and globally to internal quality and external quality assurance cultures worldwide. So we bring here the whole baggage of experience of working with different countries, with different cultures, and we'll try to put together a very nice training for the Mongolian higher education community to learn from. Well, for those of us who are new to INQAAHE, I am happy to introduce that, well, International Network of Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education. This was the first ever quality assurance network established in 1991. And after establishing the quality assurance network, other networks, regional networks appeared, like CHIA, INQAAHE, INQAAHE, SENQA, all of them targeting regional perspectives, whereas INQAAHE is targeting the global perspective. And one of the major values of INQAAHE is to bridge the different cultures and different systems all over the world to benefit the higher education community at large. This is briefly about INQAAHE, and now I would love to talk about, well, each training has its learning outcomes. This is a learning outcome approach, and that we also developed some learning outcomes for this training. And the learning outcomes for today will be, by the end of the training, the participants will be able to discuss and analyze the international trends and national and regional trends in internal quality assurance of research. And I'm highlighting internal quality of research because later on I will talk about what happens at the external level. We will define and identify the areas of research that are most prominent in particular setting. And then we will learn how to design quality assurance mechanisms around the research aspects of an institution, of a given institution. And this will be setting the benchmark, KPIs, policies, procedures, and standards and guidelines. So on one hand, we have international norms, and these are some of them, and we will share it with you for your further guidance. The MNCA will share it with you, we shared this already. And on the other hand, INQAAHE Global Study identifies that QA systems worldwide, both internal and external, pay insufficient attention to quality assurance of research. After the introduction of what is going on globally, let's look at the concepts and definitions, and let's set the scope for yourself. Just imagine that you are designing this for your institutions, and we're picking up an A institution, and then we are trying to design internal quality assurance around that particular institution. First of all, we need to define what is this supposed to serve. Is it for enhancement purpose or for accountability, or is it both? Next, you should define for yourself whether you want to do it at institutional level, broadly for all the institution, or whether you want to identify some field-specific areas and concentrate on them, or you can do it both. Then you have to define the principles. Now let's look at the measurement tools. So again, the 4 aspects are there, and the multiple research metrics need to be used definitely to set the frame. I found that those 6 A's, they are setting the DNA for the KPIs. And that's something that each institution should look after when they develop their KPIs. With this, I would like to thank my audience, and I would like to share 2 case studies from Taiwan and from Russia. And I'm happy to give the floor to Angela, Dr. Angela, who will be sharing the case study from Taiwan.
That would be the few sections. I think I could share you my observations and also the Taiwan practices. So before I talking about the Taiwan, I think I will share you a little bit about the relationships about the 3 things, because I think that would affect how well the governments or even the university develop their research indicators, okay, for assessing, no matter at the individual levels or even at the institutional level. I mean, the President Susanna also mentioned about, okay, though each university probably you'll want to develop your research capacity, but first of all, you should identify your mission, your purposes. Okay, the different level or different status of the university probably will focus on the different types of research. For example, if your university you identify university as a global university, probably your research will mainly focus on the global issues and basic research and the long-term or even, okay, it's interdisciplinary. Taiwan research system mainly, okay, divided into the two sections. The first section is the Ministry of Education. Okay, they may launch so-called excellent initiatives. And then this kind of initiative is very university based. And under this kind of initiative, university will be encouraged to develop or even to enhance the research output in order to get more funding from the government. And the other, okay, approach is the ministry side of technology. And also we'll have a lot of initiatives, but this kind of initiative and the funding schemes mainly is for the individual scholars. So it means that the individual scholars like me or the other professors, they were able to apply those funding, but however, they will exactly evaluate individuals' performances. So I think those are the key performances indicators for the research university evaluation that tries to evaluate exactly what their research output are. So mainly for the research university, they may use these four dimensions to evaluate their research quality as well as profitability.
INQAAHE is the Agency for Higher Education Quality Assurance and Career Development. We are a non-profit organization based in Russian Federation, and today we are going to discuss how we measure the university's quality assurance. Also, in this criteria, in terms of research orientation, we would look to the proportion of professors participating in or scientific and methodological activities, meaning how they are developing their study materials, or do they carry out research or participate in some conferences. Also here in this criterion, we have an indicator saying that we are looking at the internal monitoring of the teaching faculty, and the system of internal monitoring, which the university has, should allow to estimate the potential of the teaching faculty development. Also, we see here that we measure the involvement of students of the bachelor and masters in research activity fulfillment, meaning once a professor received the permission to carry out the research grants, he or she may inform his or her students that he has such type of activity that he is going to carry out, and invite them into this type of activity, even at some small task. But this will, of course, increase the students' understanding of how research is done and give them the opportunity to develop their personal analytical and research skills. And my last slide would be about how to measure the students' point of view and how to measure their perception of the participation in the research. And here we have an indicator in the criterion 10, which is called students' participation in the program management, which is called student assessment of research activity influence on the educational quality. Here is where we need to do the survey among the students and ask them to evaluate how, from their point of view, that the research results are shown to them in the course of the educational programs. How do this influence the program quality? The quality is improving, the quality does not change, or the quality is degrading. And this is also very important for the internal quality assurance system.